Welcome to Ask the Lawyer radio podcast with attorney Brian Figeroux of the law firm Figeroux and Associates. This podcast features a recording of our most recent radio show. We hope you enjoy the show, which features news, views, and interviews on matters such as immigration, personal injury, bankruptcy, divorce, family law, estate planning, wills and probate, deed transfers, civil rights, criminal defense, workers' compensation, and taxes, both individual and business. You can contact us at 855-768-8845 or visit us at www.askthelawyer.us. You have questions? We've got the answers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with I almost said Dr. Brian Figeroux, I never know. Mr. Brian Figeroux, Esquire, all the way from the United States. And like I always say, we're here because we care, because he's talking to us about immigration to the United States. And lots of persons will have so many concerns, issues, things that would have been going on, and they have no idea of what to do, and they need correct information. Well, this is the person you need to speak with, because he gives you all the information that is needed. He's passionate about helping people, and this can take you from where you were to where you want to be. So it's Mr. Brian Figeroux, Figeroux and Associates in New York. So a lot of persons in Trinidad ask questions when they apply for visas, why they don't get back their money. They apply 3-4 times. They just like, the people come here to take our money. So recently a guy posted a video. He was really upset. He was like, okay, well, I get refused once thing, but I have nothing that I needed. So they're like, so what does the immigration look for you to get a visa?
Right, so for those people who obviously what they're trying to get is the B1, B2 visitors visa, is for vacation or for business. The U.S. consulate, the U.S. government is concerned as to, what is the intent of this person? Do they want this visa to come to the U.S. and stay here? Do they really have a business transaction, a vacation plan, as part of the itinerary that will show they will come from for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but obviously not for too long a time. Although they may give you 3 months, 6 months when you enter the U.S., what is your vacation plan? So if you're going to Disney World, whether it be in Florida or California, what is the itinerary? Are you coming to New York City? Why? What's the vacation plan? Where are you going to stay? And they want to see, obviously, that you have sufficient income to pay for that vacation whilst in the U.S. You're not supposed to work in the U.S. They look at your family relationships. Are you married, but it's just you and your young child going on that vacation, as opposed to the whole family, unless they go into Disney World or other events like that. So your savings, how much money do you have in your bank account? 5, 10, 20,000 US equivalent in TT dollars. How long have you been at your job? So submitting as much evidence as possible that will show, even though they may not ask for it, your financial stability is important. And obviously, if you were going places like Disney World or any theme park in New Jersey, you'll show obviously tickets and this is your stint there, this is what you're going to be getting, those tickets there and everything for that particular vacation. Or working with a travel agency in TT that will obviously be promoting those vacation events, obviously will be very helpful. And those travel agencies, some of them but actually give further advice in that application process. Now, if he is a businessman, that's another issue. So we are involved with the law office, different business deals that we are involved in Tobago, in Trinidad, and through our Chamber of Commerce, through the businesses that we do at Figeroux and Associates as it relates to law with business, we will do a supporting letter from the Chamber as to, okay, this gentleman, they might be here for investment purposes. We want to have meetings to discuss various business ventures. And their plan is to return to their home country, TNT or whichever, and they will show obviously any type of business certifications or assets that they may hold in TNT relevant to that particular business transaction. Obviously, people who want to come here and stay, they have a different intent. So, but you and the people who are frustrated because they apply over and over and they lose their money, it's because one, they're not prepared, but two, more importantly, they may not qualify. Do they have the income? Are they a flight risk? Because obviously, a lot of people look at the US as the land of honey and they want some of that honey. Nothing wrong with that, but America doesn't want to share its honey. And during a presidential year, or if President Trump was to become president, his position on immigration issues is very anti-immigrant. Mm-hmm. People at the border trying to come in for political asylum from various countries, including Venezuela, and Trinidad has a lot of Venezuelans there. People arriving at the border from Africa and other countries, Haiti, they want to get in, i.e. to file for political asylum. So that has created a huge crisis in New York City where, if you listen to the mayor, he's saying that it's costing the city over $1 billion or more to accommodate those immigrants that are coming to the U.S. and they're shipping them from, putting them in trucks or cars, whatever, in Texas, and they're sending them down to New York City for obviously political reasons. Immigration is what obviously has made America grow. And most of the immigrants will be integrated into the U.S. citizens, those coming for political asylum, because there's a lot of jobs available. Many states actually have absorbed those people, including New York City, eventually. But the time between being here through political asylum and getting the work permit and other work documents that you qualify for before you have your hearing as to whether or not your political asylum application is a legit one, that time period could be a long time. So the whole issue here in the US is obviously the processing times. How long does it take to process these people? So having bearing this in mind, the consulates throughout the Caribbean, Africa, Latin America will scrutinize applications more so. They want to dot their I's, cross their T's, and make sure that the people who are applying for these, programs really want to leave. Now, how is the TNT economy doing? Is there high unemployment rates there? So if you have high unemployment rates in Trinidad and Tobago, then they will scrutinize it even more. Because if there's a high unemployment rate in TNT or Jamaica, wherever in the Caribbean they may be coming from, they're looking at the economic conditions in their country. They're thinking, okay, well, what's the unemployment rate now there? That's an important thing to know. So that also brings more scrutiny. Also, some people who might be coming as visitors, we have some of those entertainers, they try to come on the visitor's visa, but they want to come and perform here in the US. Obviously, that's not the correct visa they need. They need a P visa, for people, for entertainers. So the choice of visa that you're going to apply for also is important. Most times, obviously, people who are millionaires in the Caribbean, they don't have problems getting these visitors visa. But programs like the EB5 program, where you might invest $500,000 or $1 million US in a US business through a regional center, that investor could get a green card for the spouse, the investor, and all their children under 21. So there are many different visa categories people could look at that might be, a more honest visa application than the one they're applying for. And most times now through personal, people, if they really want jobs, if that's their intent, is an H-1B visa appropriate for you? Are you a professional? Do you have a degree? Do you, teachers, maybe people who qualify for the J1 visas or H-1B visa?
H1, okay.
Yeah. So people need
the unemployment rates, when you ask, I Googled this 3.81%. And they say it's a decline from 2021, which it went down from 2021 to 2022.
Well, that's good. So it means that a lot of people have jobs. Now, unless that information is incorrect, because it's the election next year, and the government wants people to think otherwise, you understand?
You could say it, you in America.
So eventually, people don't, the government, want people to be happy. When is the next election in TT? Next year? 2020?
Next year, I think next year is an election, yeah.
Right. So, but obviously the U.S. consulates and the U.S. government also look at these statistics. So they might adjust those numbers accordingly if they think the government
but we'll see how it looks in January 2025. Because they've already started the lottery giving out houses. So next year is a hot election year, So that was my next question. You delve straight into it. Some of the other categories that persons could apply for because they just think, they just need the visitor. And I know with regards to the spousal, what are some other applications persons can look towards if they want to migrate from Trinidad to the U.S.?
Right. So
the opportunity would have.
So migration is very difficult. So most time when people visit the U.S. with their visitor's visa, the B1, B2 vacation business, they explore those possibilities when they're here. They might look at educational institutions to see, okay, do I need to further my studies? And to be quite honest, some people need to actually look at the degrees that they are studying for higher learning at the University of the West Indies. So what does the labor market in the United States? Who are the people being granted visas in work categories that is in demand? Obviously, professionals in AI technology, registered nurses. These are, anyone in the medical field is always in high demand. In the trades, carpentry, plumbers, people obviously with proper certifications, I've met many people over the years that came here and they had, high qualifications in plumbing, welding, the professions, and they ended up making six-figure salaries here. Some of them starting their own business, owning several homes, So, people sometimes, and in these modern times, research is easier with AI technology, whether it be Google, whether it be Copilot with Microsoft. You ask a specific question, you will get better answers rather than just doing a Google search. looking at the U.S. Labor Department in terms of jobs that are in demand, their salaries. So you may not be successful now if you try to come here and you don't have money, but what you want to do is, if you don't have money, why not educate yourself? Why not make yourself more marketable? So it doesn't matter where in this world you live, wherever in society, grab the opportunities that the government has given you. Pass those CXC things, get your A levels, attend the University of the West Indies or other professional organizations there in TT. So you don't just sit down with your thumb in your mouth waiting for something to happen. Those are, those are the basic steps that you will take. And whenever all these trainees come back for Canada, maybe you might find a U.S. citizen that you could fall in love with and get married. But there's no guarantee there either. That person might just be trying to con you rather than you. You understand? Because it's just for bona fide marriage and all these kind of things.
And then they tell you, so what if I have somebody there? I could have somebody here too. All kind of crazy things, Oh my goodness.
But no, people have come, especially so after Lent, all those trainees, Tobagonians, from back home they come and they say, hey, Brian, man, met this beautiful lady, I met this gorgeous guy, I want to get married. I say, you sure you want a green card, man? Or to the lady, or to the jet. I say, well, you go there and people, just like how you looking at people looking at you, just like a Yankee, whatever. You understand? And obviously there's protections in the system. So, that's how obviously some people migrate to the US because they're lucky to find someone that, they enter into a bona fide marriage with and things happen. So I've had that where people obviously come back from vacation and what have you. Or when they come here as visitors, they go out, they socialize, they come on the student visas or visitors visas. Because that's the fastest part of legalization to get a green card. And that's why I call the U.S. government the love government, but they're protecting the U.S. citizens, so to speak, not the immigrant. But these happen in all walks of society. We're not just talking about the Caribbean, but people from Western Europe also, all over Asia. These things happen all the time. But obviously, if you have, a lot of times people make mistakes in life and they think, oh, okay, let me find another path. Other paths could be, can you migrate to England? Could you go to other countries in the Middle East that give job opportunities? So you may not be able to come to the US, but there's high demand for qualified labor in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, these places that have a lot of money. They're doing a lot of construction. They're doing a lot of expansion. And there are opportunities there for professionals and others. So the US may not be maybe your first choice, but you could also get very lucrative jobs in there also in other countries, and they are very wealthy African countries also. Those are things that people should exploit, not just narrow your. So people need to obviously research, see what is happening, look at their qualifications. No country wants to get people who is going to be a burden to society.
That's true.
Save your money, obviously. Save your money so you can show that you have accumulated money over time, that you have money to afford that vacation. Try to obviously get a good job, and if the unemployment rate is so low, obviously try to obviously get a good job and keep that job and try to move up on that job. And things like that will obviously qualify you for a visa where you come here on vacation and you may not even want to stay in the US. Most people return to their home countries. They just want to come for vacation, that's fine. But the scrutiny that they have for people who visit or for all the other categories, that scrutiny is not decreasing, it's increasing.
How is it for students, easy for students, after they have studied to apply for their green card? I got some students were asking me that.
From what
And
level? You mean like from
yeah,
the university or from
from the
O
university,
levels and A levels?
from the university over there to
To
get to stay
get to
after.
universities here. You mean after
Yeah,
they graduate?
yeah, after they finish
Well,
their
I mean,
degree.
well, everyone who gets a student visa, if it's in the sciences, you could work for up to 2 years. And if it's non-science, it's normally a year. So you go to a university here in the US, that's the first option. And obviously choosing the right degree makes you more productive in terms of the labor demand in the US. So they're not gonna want to give you a H-1B visa or part to getting a green card if your job is not in high demand. So if you come to the US and your university studies is in an area that is in low demand, one, why did you do that in the first place? And two, from an economic point of view, obviously it's a bad choice. So some people want to do what they would like as opposed to what is in demand. And that's the problem that a lot of young people have. They really need to plan. The standard of living that you have with jobs that are in high demand and keep trending in high demand, obviously, is a lot better. You could purchase a home, you could, afford to live in better neighborhoods, you could have better pension plans. They say so career advisement. People really need to really, analyze from a financial perspective and not a comfort perspective what is best. So if registered
Wow, that's
nurses are
powerful.
making six figures, but teachers are making less, what should you choose? Be a teacher or be a nurse, a registered
Yeah.
nurse? You know,
Wow, that's
or
powerful.
I'm gonna work with patients, but you get more money for that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this, comes from the people in terms of what type of planning that they're doing for their future. Obviously, people who live in, less fortunate neighborhoods here or back home, they will not easily qualify. So if you live in Village A in TNT, just like how that's not a good neighborhood, the U.S. consulate will know that also.
Yes, yes, and it's actually highlighted, sadly, you know, as like a watch for kind of thing, as you would know
Right, so
as well.
it's a red flag,
Yeah,
you know. Is this guy from Laventille the same person as the person from St. Augustine? You understand? Uh,
yeah.
and they know that the person living in a particular neighborhood may be more inclined to stay in the U.S. for economic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going there for a vacation, they're exploring economic reasons.
Right, right,
So,
right.
unfortunately, the U.S. consulate discriminates with their B1, B2 visa legally as to, okay, is this person really going to return? Because you must have that intent. So they have different things that they look at. So maybe go live with your auntie somewhere else. So
Yes,
you
yeah,
understand?
yeah.
Obviously, education tells you a lot also.
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention to obviously your studies. And anyone, young people should always obviously do so. Uh,
I didn't hear that. Young people
Now,
should.
say younger people, they should look at the future.
Yes,
Uh, but
that's important.
that's what the world is all about. America is not just going to open their doors, or no other countries is just going to open their doors if they don't think that you could benefit their countries.
Yeah, right. That is it. That for sure is something that when we play in it, we would over endorse. You must be a benefit. So it comes like it comes like life itself, you know?
It is like itself. And those people are very well trained at the consulate. They do their own investigations. They could go out in the neighborhoods and
Been there,
verify
done
the
that.
information that you gave.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if there's red flags or if they get negatives, you might be banned for life. But
Hmm.
they may tell you, oh, you're banned for 3 years, 5 years, like the gentleman who said he keep applying.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, what has changed every time he applies?
They don't understand that, and I keep saying, what about your circumstances has been different from the last time you applied?
Right. What about you and your experience, your education, your savings, and everything that has changed? And obviously the consulates, that's their job to determine who comes in and who doesn't.
So spousal seems to be the fastest one. Parents, children, sponsorship, that kind of thing.
There are
And
children who are here 21 years, so they call that the immediate relative category. So once people are in the US, some of them overstay their visitor's visa, obviously, and that's what the consulates are trying to avoid. Here, they make, people get jobs off the books, as they call it. You understand? That always have the underground economy, and those are millions of people in the US. People stay here 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and even more, and they never legalize in the US for one reason or the other. And it's not criminal issues, you understand? And, so people for religious reasons waiting for the person who is equally yoked, same religion, they're not getting married for a green card. So people think that, everyone doesn't just get married for a green card. People have certain principles that they go to church, they believe in God, whoever God may be, and they want a bona fide marriage, which is what immigration wants you to have.
Yeah.
But obviously, people don't always find love. But the immediate relative category where you could do a spousal petition, your spouse is a U.S. citizen, you could get the green card in the U.S. If your spouse is a green card holder, if you overstay your time in the U.S., you could do a provisional waiver to waive the 3 or 10-year bar that you may be subject to if you overstay your time. So these are some of the things that are happening on an ongoing basis.
All right.
So, it's estimated, as I said, 15, 20 million people that are undocumented underground economy all over the U.S. And sometimes people have family here that really doesn't have a true path to legalization. And those family take care of family.
Yeah.
Or they may have entered the U.S. without inspection over the border.
Right.
So not everyone is apprehended at the border.
Yes, that's true.
Right? And if you did move over the border, most people wouldn't qualify for political asylum. And if you do, you have 1 year within entry when you enter without inspection to file for political asylum. Obviously, TNT has been oil rich for many years. They have good businesses, and so the success rate for people getting visitors visas is more so in TNT than other Caribbean,
I have a quick question. Somebody was saying recently that their son was 18 years old and he was able to sponsor him.
No, the son has to be 21 years or older, U.S. citizen.
But I told them that, but they were adamant he was 18. And so I said I had to ask you if the laws changed somewhere.
No, it didn't change, and you could have a bush lawyer or bush doctor. The bush doctors might be better. You're a bush doctor, right? So
no, I'm not. I know of some.
I'm just saying with the herbal medicines.
Yes. The naturopathic doctors, yes, they use an alternative.
So what happens?
It still helps.
So people come here and they go to
it's true.
They call it in the US notorieties. People who's a notary that practice law without a license. In New York
Oh.
State and other states, they have a lot of restrictions on that. Obviously, federal law doesn't allow you to practice law without a license, nor state law. And a lot of people are misguided, misinformed, or embezzled.
Yeah.
One of the cases that we worked on in the office was with a gentleman from Grenada, Ali Louison, and he actually submitted hundreds of fraudulent applications for people to get a work permit and green card under the Violence Against Women's Act. And obviously, there's rules as to who qualify for it. People will sign in blank forms unknowingly. And he made, I would assume, if you have over 3,000 victims, probably a couple $1 million well. And we worked with some of the victims, and they cooperated with the U.S. government, both at a state and federal level. He was arrested. He had over 10 counts of fraud, federal fraud. And he actually died before his trial. Yeah, I think he was suffering from diabetes or something. But they have had other people over the years that we have seen. Lady from Trinidad and Tobago, so don't leave TNT out, a gentleman from Nigeria. So it's always obviously, people who look like you. There was obviously people in the Latino community taking advantage of people. Because when people come in for a consultation and you tell them what the law is and how they qualify, they are hoping that somebody is gonna be smarter than the lawyer, and they're looking for paths to legalization.
You're not telling them what they want to hear, and that is it. They come for advice, but they already have in their head what they want. It's crazy.
A lot of people, obviously from the Caribbean, have been defrauded this way. Many people have come to the office, they're crying. Some of them have been placed into deportation because obviously you're not supposed to sign blank forms.
Yeah.
So there's consequences for one if you were trying to commit fraud, and consequences if you're so stupid as to not to sign forms that obviously without reading what's on it.
Yeah. Wow.
You cannot put yourself to the mercy of someone, and they're charging 500 or 1,000, not much money. That should be an alarm. Or sometimes they charge a lot of money. So if they're charging you little money or too much money that attorneys don't charge, it tells you that's a red flag.
Yeah.
But people want to take a risk.
Yeah.
So they don't want to do marriage fraud, which is understandable, but they want to do another fraud, which is stupidity. Obviously, ignorance doesn't exonerate you. And yeah, so a lot of years people were swaying by this Ali Louison. He's a great person. I got my work permit and my social. They didn't know how it was under VAWA, and in those applications, they were saying that some little child is abusing them. No, it's marriage. It could be family, yes, but not a baby abusing you, so to speak, a 5-year-old or 6-year-old. Yes, you understand? So it had a lot of ridiculous facts related to some of these applications that he did. And ironically, his office was right across the street from Congresswoman Clark. You understand? So it's happening right in the neighborhood. And there were some white folks who were defrauded too. So it's not only Black and brown people desperate or stupid that make mistakes.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's more people from the Caribbean.
Wow.
So that's another. And when people come here on their visitors' visas, so obviously we tell people, okay, is the attorney, the immigration attorney, is that person a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, which is an organization that I've been a part of since 1997. That's a very long time.
Yeah.
the American immigrant. And we have that on our website, and it shows my, latest, you know, uh, renewal to my membership there. We have conferences every year. This year's conference is in June. And we send people to training sometimes. So I myself might go, we order materials. We do a lot of sophisticated areas also, which is EB5, E2, people who want to start businesses here. So people who want to start a business, we could discuss those issues with them. Simple businesses, it could be a beauty salon, it could be small businesses also, not multi-million-dollar businesses. So people shouldn't just assume that there's no opportunities that could present itself from a business perspective, especially if they've had a successful business for many years back home and they think that that business could flourish in the United States.
Gotcha. Wow. Well, that's a lot of information, real information for persons who wanting to know why they get refused, what are the opportunities, what they can do for themselves to get to the other level, to prepare themselves and get themselves qualified. So it's so much information inside the interview persons that when we run it, you can go back and listen because it can help you as a person. Because, it's like, I think as well what came out of it, he didn't just give you fishes, but he taught you how to fish. And a lot of times people, lazy, don't want to get up and do what they have to do. It's like there are some things you just have to do for yourself, And I think a lot of it as well came out there in persons, qualifying yourself, observing you, making sure that you are better qualified instead of just quarreling. I get refused every time I go, I get refused, what is the want, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we'll be participating in a conference in Jamaica in the month of June, the 19th, the 18th, the 17th, I think the 16th, those 4 days, 16th,
Okay.
17th, 18th. We like
So
to
when
do
will you be in
something.
Trinidad?
Huh?
When will you be in
So we'd
Trinidad?
like to do something in TNT also.
We'll talk after we finish.
So we could explore that. So we could have a couple of days, and we have different type of seminars that deal with different methods of investing or immigrating as a business person, as a lay person, so to speak. Pastors who are associated with churches here in the U.S. could actually be petitioned for by those churches back home that have relationship with other churches here within the same, whether it be non-denominational or denominational.
Okay.
So there's a whole host of different, methods to immigrate to the U.S. But obviously, like any other issue, any other business, you have to plan. There are a lot of obviously people well off in TNT, and the EB5 programs are great programs that they could, and people who have money, that type of money, $500,000 or $1 million US, they could actually, when they invested, the investor's spouse and all the investors' children under 21 get green cards, those kids have a benefit. They obviously being green card holders and later US citizens, they qualify for scholarships and programs that other people may not qualify for.
Okay.
So the investor may be doing this not so much for themselves, because obviously they're well off, but obviously for their children who might want to attend various universities here. And that's like a return on investment for whatever they invest, but they still make money from their investment. So it's, it offers a lot of creativeness and ideas for people. The EB5 was very popular in China, South Korea, and other Asian countries. And obviously, it's international. It's not just restricted to Asian, but it's also for the Caribbean. And we're going to be talking about that in Jamaica in June.
You're going to Jamaica. You should come to Trinidad. Trust me. Well, thank you for your time.
Oh, and the other thing is this is Look at, you have different Italian restaurants here, you have different Irish restaurants. How about setting up a TNT restaurant chain in the US?
That is it.
You have to start three of the same business for it to become a franchise in New York State.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And we could cook.
Yes. And what we have to do is look at, okay, but sometimes you have to adjust the menu for different tastes.
Right. Yeah.
So
Definitely. Because we know we're very spicy.
Or
yeah,
you
we're very
can't
spicy.
be too carbohydrate, you understand? So you could vary your recipes, what have you. So I mean, so those are some of the things that we're going to talk about when we go to Jamaica. What franchise exists there that could actually exist in the US? So, all these franchises that come to the Caribbean that are Americans. How about your franchise in the Caribbean coming to America? So so those are some of the opportunities that U.S. immigration law give and business law give to international relationships. So, but the more information people have, then they could say, okay, they have to put, the listenership has to put these things, they're listening and say, okay, yes, this is a kind of like a comprehensive stuff here, and I'm getting ideas. And then using ChatGPT and other things, they could do further research. And then when they think they're ready and they have a whole long list of questions, they could do a consultation with us so that we could help them refine.
Okay, I'll do some throw some things out there because we have a few good ones that's yeah. Could take the whole breakfast shed to start.
So it's good speaking with you, Madonna. All right, as usual. All right.
Do you have a legal issue, question, or concern? Turn to Ask the Lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us. You can also register for our paralegal program, get legal news, business consults, or other information on educational issues. Yes, ask the lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us.